Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again here to Virtual Racing Network. As you can see right there on your screen, we're at Las Vegas Motor Speedway here for tonight's race here for the RACECORE Truck Series presented by Leo's Coney Island. And boy, do we have a field here tonight. 30 drivers have made their way into the race. I expect to see some great racing here tonight. As always, we'll see if any more drivers do connect. We do have some new drivers in here. We'll be going over those people here in just a minute. But before we get to all of the racing details, we got to go through all the sponsors and partners we have here on the racing side of things. Of course, you have your general sponsors. Global Building Contractors, again a general sponsor for this series, and they were the presenting sponsor for the Xfinity series that just finished up not this Sunday but the past Sunday, and we had the All-Star race this past Sunday. iRacing Drivers World. If you are an iRacer and you're looking to post pictures, videos, comments, questions, concerns, whatever it may be about iRacing, there's no other better place to do it than iRacing Drivers World. Go join that group today. Lake Erie Entertainment, another general sponsor coming on here in the later half of this season, so make sure you go check them out as well. And of course, our presenting sponsor here for tonight's race and this series, that is Leo's Coney Island out of Rochester Hills. If you're in the area, make sure you stop by there and give them a shout out for sponsoring this series. And if you're there, you might as well get some great food while you're at it. Lots of great food there. A menu that we would have to spend an entire broadcast just announcing. It is huge. So make sure you give them a shout out to get you some great food. That is Leo's Coney Island out of Rochester Hills. And on the broadcast side of things, we want to give a shout out to all of our partners and sponsors, starting with Walls of Beard Co. Beard Balm. If you have a beard, you need to take care of it. There is no better way to do so than with some Walls of Beard Co. Beard Balm, all natural and organic products. And not only that, they have different scents to pick from as well. So make sure you head over to wallsbeardco.com to pick up their products today. SimSpeedShop.com, your one-stop shop for button boxes and e-brakes. So if you are an iRacer, these are kind of a must for you. So you need to go check them out and get those button box and e-brakes if you're a rallycross racer. Again, that website is simspeedshop.com. Northwest Racing Series. If you are a Northwest driver here on iRacing looking to join that league, they are back racing as we have them tomorrow night. As always, here 10:30 Central Time on Monday and Wednesday now. Make sure you check them out. They are also the presenting sponsor here for the white flag. So tonight's race, when you see the white flag waving with one to go, it is presented by Northwest Racing Series. Ohio IndyCar League. If you're looking to get some IndyCar racing in your life, there ain't no better place to go than Ohio IndyCar League. You can get all the latest information at facebook.com/Ohio IndyCar League. iBog, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, your sim race broadcast graphic source. If you're looking to get into broadcasting or just looking to have some overlays made for streaming, go hit up Jason Allison over at ibog.co, and he can get you hooked up today with those. Again, that is ibog.co. And here momentarily, we will have a pre-race interview coming up. That pre-race interview is presented by Randy's Wraps. If you have the need to have a paint job made, there's no better place than Randy's Wraps. You can get a hold of Randy Post by just going over to Facebook, typing in Randy's Wraps, and you can get hooked up with a really great paint job for a really great price. That being said here, before we get to our pre-race interview, actually they're going to be at a driver's meeting soon, so we're going to go ahead and get to that. So give us just a moment. We're going to grab a driver in here. We're going to do a pre-race interview, followed by your pre-race analyst, and then your point standing. So give us just a minute. We will be right back. All right, we are back here with our pre-race interview presented by Randy's Wraps, and we have a newer driver here to the series that has just come on here recently. That is Ryan Hesgard in the 23. But new or not, veteran out there, you are at the top of the charts here in practice with a 30.841. So coming into Las Vegas, what are your thoughts on this track, and what do you expect for yourself here?
After last week's debut, I need to get a little bit of redemption. So, uh, I know some of these guys. I've raced with a few of them before. I know they're fast. Honestly, I'm hoping to get, at least a top 10. The goal is, top 5 or higher, but I think that's everybody's goal. Realistically, I'm thinking top 10, and I'll get out of here happy. I wasn't expecting to have a full throttle racetrack tonight, so that's a plus. I'm kind of excited to see how the tire wear is going to play out. I think after 15 or 20 laps or so, trucks are going to start getting a little tight. So I think if we get a long green run, I think your race winner is going to be who can manage their tires the best.
Well, we have to ask this because we are in Las Vegas for this race. If we were to maybe get a late race caution here where we have, 1, 2, maybe 3 lap shootout, are you going to gamble and maybe take no tires and stay out if you're, midfield and want to get to the front? Is that a gamble you would do? I mean, again, it is Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not in a position right away to win or not, there's a lot of stuff that's going to go on with that decision, but if I got a bunch of guys that pit, I'm probably pitting. But if it's, 5, 6 or so, and then the rest of them stay out, that's probably what's going to happen is I'll just stay and we'll see what happens and go from there. But we got to see how the race pans out, how the track changes a little bit before I can make those type of gambles.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see. We have 120 laps here, so it is going to be a really long race. So we're looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. And, looks like you're at the top right now. We'll see if that is where you are in the end of the race, because that's really what matters. But any sponsors or shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, I got to thank the S2R guys. There's a bunch of us. We all race together week in, week out. We practice together. Just a good gaming community. So a big thank you to those guys. Without them, I wouldn't be here. I would have never heard of RACECORE. So big thank you to those guys. Thank you to you guys for what you do in the booth. It definitely adds a secondary aspect that makes it even, that much more enjoyable. So thank you for what you guys do as well.
All right, well, there you have it. That was a pre-race interview here, again presented by Randy's Wraps with the number 23 of Ryan Hesgard. We'll see where he stacks up tonight. Looks like pretty good night for him here at the top here in practice. We'll be right back with your point standings, followed by your pre-race analyst coming up here in just a minute. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and why I say we, that is because Jeff, the professional staff now, Jeff, the professional staff now, yes, there we go, we'll get it out right, is in the booth with us here. So, Jeff, welcome to the booth once again.
Well, thanks, Charles. Not sure if the word professional goes right in front of staff now or after, but we'll take it. Glad to be here at Las Vegas. Love this track. Great track. This is one of those tracks where it seems like the line always moves around on you. We don't have a whole lot of banking in the corners. When you're driving this track and you hit those corners kind of right, you really kind of feel it in the truck and the wheel there. It just gives good feedback. When the track gets worn in, rubbered up, sometimes we'll get 3 lines of racing through 1 and 2. Pretty good, solid low line and high line in 3 and 4, and depending on the set, then it can just kind of get wicked loose on you down there on the bottom or not. So then if you're, as the tires wear, cutting a quad oval, which you'll get, or the tri oval early, and you'll see them cutting down on the apron coming across that start finish line to take some length off that track. But later on, that transition back and forth off the track, if those tires start losing grip, gets a little bit hairy. So you got to weigh that balance of maybe saving a little bit of time or gaining a little bit of speed and possibly wrecking. So, and again, when you're riding that apron, it's hard necessarily to get up, swing wide enough for that corner, especially if you get traffic up there. So a lot going on here at Las Vegas when these drivers are out there in the track, which makes it one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah, and speaking of this track and how you get around it, we have 30 drivers here for tonight's race. It is going to be a huge field. And we got 9-mile-per-hour winds out of the southwest, mostly cloudy. Right now, this track's only 77 degrees, so it's not too hot out there. But you have to be good and perfect about getting around this track like you were talking about. And they have 120 laps they have to do this. So, you times 4 corners times 120 laps. That is beyond my math skills, so we're not even going to attempt to get into that. But that is a lot of turns that you have to get around this track, and you have to do it consistently. You can't just do it once and win the race. You have to do it 120 times.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said, you're constantly feeling out. You're getting lines early in the race when we got a lot of grip. The inside line is usually faster as long as we don't have somebody outside of us and we can swing out to that wall. We get somebody outside of us and they're able to pinch us down a little bit, it makes it harder to get back to that throttle, and you lose a little speed going down the straightaway. So in that instance, sometimes it's better to be on the outside, maybe that middle lane a little bit, and then, if we get enough heat and enough rubber into this track, sometimes that high line really ends up being the place to be. So I think we're in for a fun night.
Yeah, and speaking of heat, while we're sitting here watching, they are in a driver's meeting, and this track temp just dropped a degree. So while we were sitting here watching it, it actually went down. So this track is going to cool down, I would probably say, to about 74 before we get out there for qualifying. So while they were there for practice, this track probably got up to 78, 79 degrees. Qualifying going to be 74. So we'll see how that plays a difference out here. And I am curious. We saw a lot of fast times, but we did have a lot of drivers out there drafting a little bit with each other here because this track is full throttle around here nearly, as Ryan Hesgard was saying. So qualifying could be quite a bit different if they don't have anyone out there with them.
And this track is full throttle, not because of this setup, right? It's really hard to kind of build a full throttle setup for this unless you have what we have right now, which is cool temperatures. So it's those cool temperatures and that extra grip in that track that's making this kind of a full throttle track. So right now, in talking to these guys, it seems like it's pretty much wide open most of the run, which means the line is going to be very important. That's going to determine who's faster or not if they're all going full throttle. We heard Brian touch on tire wear. So that's going to be a little bit of a concern, too. If we're going full throttle, it's easy to scrub a little bit off those tires by turning that wheel just a little bit too much. So these drivers are really going to have to balance that, figure that out. And then what happens when the track starts rubbering up? And again, can we find another line that allows us to stay full throttle? Do we have to start lifting? And I staying in it too long and pushing and burning my tires and not realizing it? All that is going to kind of favor maybe some veteran drivers here or some guys that have done a lot of the fixed racing, I think, out there on the service. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. It's a good thing overall as we're reading chat here a little bit. Apparently, we were just poked there. JT letting us know the viewer count went from 8 to 16 when you showed up here. So apparently, they're redeeming it the stab now effect. So I'm not sure if that's bad for me or good overall, but we're glad to have everyone here. And apparently, not only are you the professional, you have your own effect on people now.
I'm not real sure that I'm going to brings 8 viewers with him on my broadcasting resume, right? The 8 viewer fan club. So not sure if that's good or bad. I'm with you on that one, Charles.
Well, we're glad to have everyone here regardless. That being said, we got about 5 minutes or so, I'd say about 4 till we get to the national anthem. While we have a chance, we're going to pull up your point standings here. As right now, it looks like Jamir Muhammad, I would say about 80% has this sewn up here for the championship. We'll see. He already won one championship. As we were talking to Justin about that, he had to ship that trophy out to him. Mikey Neal, 55 points out. Right now, Alex Huffman is sitting in third place, 148 points out of first. I think as far as your top two go, Jamir and Mikey, I would be willing to bet as long as they come in and have decent finishes, they're probably not going to change spots too much. And I think those two are probably locked in the points. So with 55 points out, I don't think he's going to have enough to pass Jamir. And then the gap between 677 and 584, I don't think Alex Huffman or anyone behind him has enough to get by Mikey either.
Well, I'm going to caution you on that one just a little bit here because if I remember correctly, this league's got like 4, 5, 6 drops or something like that. There's a lot of drops in this league to come into play, which means there's a lot of scores that are going to come off the scoreboard before we start getting, final standings in. And so even if they're, a 5-point swing on each of those drops, I mean, that's 30, 35 points. So I suspect that maybe it's a little closer than that. I think Mikey Neal's been running really good. Jamir Muhammad obviously been real strong. Alex Huffman has been just extremely consistent in these trucks. Justin Starr right there. So when the drops get factored in, and I think Alex missed a race or two. I'm not sure on that. And I think Jamir may have too. So caution you that these the points are still fluid at this point. We really don't know. I don't think we know where we're at with them.
Yeah, it will check that. They may, I think one had the Xfinity had 4, and I think this one has 2. It could have 4 also. But we'll try to clarify that when we get a chance. But those are the point standings right now. We'll just go ahead and read off your top 10 right now. There is Justin Starr, obviously. James Rillo, Dan Butler, Bryson Barker, Dennis Ellis, Jeremy Evans, and Brian Dorsey to go through 11th through 20th in the order. As you can see the points, so we won't go too into those. It is John Van Varellis, Jack Fellers, who I don't see here tonight. We'll see if he is racing or not. Roger Muth, James Morgan, Cody Levitt, Jared Hagedorn, Mike Rigney, Brian Bizzle, Chris Brown, and Damian Leininger. That will round out your top 20 in the point standings right now. As we're going to have some good racing here. Earlier, we saw some really good times here. And looking at your top 30 cars, or all 30 cars, 0.614 separating your first from 30th. However, if you go one spot up to 29th to Ray Moss, 0.222 separating first from 29th spot. That is not a lot of time separating those. So we're going to see how those stack up in qualifying here. But first, we got to get to the national anthem. So we will be right back after the national anthem with qualifying. And we'll see if these times stay the same and who will be on pole starting this race. So we'll be right back.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light. What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'm tempted to not unmute his mic. I think I will. We are here in qualifying. We're going to jump down here. Well, let's go to Jeremy Evans, who's out on the track right now in that number 4 machine. We'll see where he stacks up, as he did fairly good in the All-Star race.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I was watching those viewers, and as soon as you unmuted my mic, we went from 20 to 19, so not sure what to say about that. Jeremy Evans, though, he's been running real solid in the trucks here. He came on about mid-season, and just been a solid, top 5 to 10 kind of guy. He hasn't won any races yet, but certainly no stranger to run up front. But week after week after week, he finds himself probably around that 5 spot.
Yeah, he definitely is finding himself towards the front of this field. And while nobody's put in a time yet, I probably expect to see him up there once again. We will just have to wait and see. Again, Ryan Hesgard is out on the track in the number 23 car, as we'll watch him for a minute too. He was the fastest in practice. Did drafting play a factor into that a little bit? And will he be back at the top? But times are coming in, so we're going to pull a driver bar up, as well as our top 20 times. As right now, it is actually Damian Leininger that is at the top. It's a driver we've saw come in late too, and he's sitting there at the top.
Yeah, Damian Leininger was, I believe, the second fastest in practice, and he's one of those guys that obviously, while new to the league here the last few races, he's been really good at hot lapping. And I'm not talking about, taking anything away from his race runs, but he's been able to put down fast lap speeds, particularly when it comes to qualifying and some of the practice times. So not going to be surprised at all to see him lay down a top 5 time here tonight either.
Yeah, right now Justin Starr was 3rd, now he's in 7th as Jeremy Evans takes it to the top. You got Alex Huffman in 2nd with a 30 points and 9.87, followed by Mikey Neal, who's going to bring it to pit road with a 31.004, only a .049 out of the front. Bryson Barker, William Edwards, and he may go by Bill Edwards. I know he's Bill in here, so we'll see if we can get that for race tonight. We'll call him William Edwards. Jim Locking, another driver who has been having some really good runs, currently sitting in 6th place, as now he's going to drop to 7th as Cody Levitt is going to take 6th place from him.
Yeah, and I'm noticing a lot of new drivers tonight, or maybe I've got bad memory anymore, but William Edwards, I believe he's pretty new to this series, and then Salvatore Di Gennaro, Hunter Connolly. I believe those are all Colton Farrell. Maybe not Colton Farrell, I'm not sure. But I think we've got at least 3, maybe 4 or 5 new drivers here tonight.
Yeah, Colton Farrell has been here before, but you're right, he is not here very often. We haven't seen him. I know last week he wasn't here, maybe the week before. So he has been here before, but not a regular. So he is new on top of that, or newer. So that would explain not remembering that name. But right now he is 19th in that number 67 machine, as he is going to shut it down there. James Morgan currently out on the track as well. And I do have note here that we have no EOLs because last week was a road course. And there were no cautions, so we do not have any EOLs. So Brian Dorsey, Danny Valenzuela, Dennis Ellis, Sam Crow, Ray Moss, Matthew Ellis, Jared Hagedorn, Brian Jones, those guys have just not come on the track. They may not qualify, but is not due to EOLs this week.
Yeah, and it looks like going by it, Cody Brent Levitt just put in a time that puts him up to 6th place. Still showing him out on the track. Ryan Hesgard, who was our fastest guy there in practice, turned in his first lap there at 9th place. It looks like he's got another lap yet, though, so we'll see if he bumps up the chart. But Roger Muth also out on the track, and other than that, we've got 3 guys that haven't taken times yet. Brian Jones, Jared Hagedorn. Well, I'm sorry. A lot of guys here. I got to scroll down tonight. So we've still got about 7 or 8 drivers that haven't taken times yet, I guess.
Yeah, and right now they're not going to with 10 seconds left on the clock. So that is going to do it here for qualifying, as it is time here for the race to start. And if I'm not mistaken, the 4 of Jeremy Evans, this is his first pole.
I think it is. I think it is his first pole. I know he started several races, up front, but I do believe this is his first pole.
It is, and a mile and a half. I'm not sure if we get 2 laps or not to go around this track, so we're going to go ahead and get through it. We have, 30 cars here for tonight's race. Jeff, you want to go through our first 16 drivers, and then I will finish this off.
Yeah, absolutely. On pole tonight, the number 4, Jeremy Evans. Outside of him in row 1, also the 83 of Alex Huffman. In row 2, we've got the 8 of Mikey Justified Neal, son of Mike Neal in chat. And the 84 outside row 2, 84 of Bryson Barker, our all-star winner. In row 3, we've got the 75 of William or Bill Edwards. We're still not sure yet. And outside of him in row 3, we've got Cody Levitt. In row 4, we got 14 of Jameer Muhammad and the 91 of Jim Locking. In row 5, we've got the 23 of Ryan Hesgard. And outside him, league owner, the 99 of Justin Starr. In row 6, we've got the 5 of Brandon Dorsett. And outside row 6, we've got the 3 of Damian Leiniger. In row 7, we've got the 36 of Salvatore DeGennaro. And outside of him, we got the 31 of Dan Butler. In row 8, we've got the 87 of John Van Varelis, and starting in the outside of row 8, rounding out your top 16, we've got the 19 of Hunter Conley.
And as they take off the grid, row 9 is going to be the 30 of Mike Rigney and the 28 of Brian Bissell. Row 10 is going to be the 12 of James Morgan and the 67 of Colton Farrow. Row 11 is going to be the 39 of Roger Muth and the 64 of Tony Rice. So row 12 is going to be the 45 of Brian Jones and the 9 of Brian Dorsey. Row 13 is going to be the 11 of Dennis Ellis and the 42 of Ray Moss. Row 14 is going to be the 2 of Jared Hagedorn and Danny Valenzuela, and I'm not sure, he is actually not starting. He would be the number 3, but he is not on the grid here. Row 15 is going to be Matthew Ellis and the number 70 of Sam Crow. And there is no row 16 here tonight. 15 rows, 30 drivers. Looking here, it looks like Danny Valenzuela and Jared Hagedorn are not going to start the race.
Yeah, and this race I expect to be a little bit like Super Speedway racing. If we've got these guys running flat foot all the way around this track, that takes one big element out of driving this thing and just changes it up a little bit. So we're pretty tight on all the qualifying speed. We're pretty tight on the practice speeds. I think we're going to have 30 cars pretty bunched up for a lot of this race.
Yeah, I definitely too think so as well. Remember in practice, 0.222 separating first through 29th. 28 drivers starting the race. The green flag is in the air, and it looks like we got the 4 and the 8 getting a little jump there. That was a good jump for them to get this thing started, as they are 2 wide here, fixing to try to make it 3 wide, as Mikey Neal's trying to make a move on the inside.
Yeah, Mikey Neal wasted no time getting around Alex Huffman and kind of leaving Bryson Barker standing there in row 2, and he gets position on the inside. If we're able to run flat-footed here, the inside's going to be a little bit faster row, and watching these guys for a little bit of practice there, they're actually able to keep it wide open without floating all the way up the outside wall. So inside line should probably prevail here, but we'll see how long they have to hang it down there, because the longer you've got to kind of turn that turn radius a little tighter on that bottom, the more tire you're going to scrub off. So Jeremy Evans, it probably behooves him to keep Bryson Barker and Mikey Justified Neal pinched down there as low as he can for as long as he can. But as long as he's on the outside there, he's going to continue to lose ground.
Yeah, and they're definitely freight training him right now. You can see the 8, the 84, I believe it's the 83, the 14, and the 75, 23. All 5 of those, or 6, sorry, are going to get in a row, and they're probably going to freight train by him right now, as that outside is not where he wants to be. Like you were talking about, they're going to get by him, and so that's just a really bad spot to be in now, but it looks like Mikey Neal may get stuck up there now too. Here comes the 84 of Bryson Barker, as we may have our 3rd different leader in as many laps.
Yeah, now Alex Huffman there, 2nd place, is his teammate. I was going to say look and see if he gives Mikey Neal a gap, but there is room for Mikey Neal to duck down right behind Alex Huffman if that gap doesn't close up on him real quick here. And just as I say that, the forward Jeremy Evans finally kind of gets down there and takes that gap, decides to come right back outside Alex Huffman, and looks like they were just about 3 wide getting into the corner there for a second.
Yeah, and
but Bryson Barker's hung out on the outside now.
Yeah, I'm going to be surprised here. Let's take a look. Alex Huffman, he does lead that lap. We have never seen this in the history of RACECORE, and it's happening tonight. 4 laps, 4 different leaders. That is how this has gone down. We have completed 4 laps, and we've had 4 different leaders. That is almost unheard of on any racing level. So that is awesome to see.
Yeah, we said with these track temperatures, this was going to be a lot like super speedway racing tonight. Maybe the draft doesn't have as big of an effect, but we can see the close proximity and the way these guys are battling over lines. I'm watching them come 3 wide across the start-finish line there too. This is, just what we expected, man. And look at those 2 trucks up there in front, just right there on Jeremy Evans, all over Alex Huffman's bumper.
Yeah, and Huffman will be the first driver here to lead multiple laps as it went. Again, that was just amazing to see. We'll see how many more different leaders we have here tonight. Again, 4 different leaders so far. They've kind of spread out there a little bit, so let's go back here just a little bit. Back to this group right behind them, Mikey Neal in there, Brandon Dorsett, Damian Leininger. They're still side by side putting on a really good battle as your front 3 have gone single file now.
Yeah, it looks like as these tires start wearing, these trucks like to start moving up just a little bit higher, right? They don't like holding that tighter radius down below. And the difference in speed between the inside and the outside looks less. It looks like the outside line's better able to hang in there. It's not losing as much as it was earlier. So it'll be interesting to see if that equalizes here as these tires wear a little bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be watching those times here. And right now, the best lap for Jeremy Evans, who has the lead back at the moment. 30.925, right now running 30.96s, so not much fall off on time yet, but we're going to keep an eye on that. We're 8 laps in, and I expect to see some fall off here, but, those guys are still battling here. They took a little bit of a break, maybe to run up a little bit higher line, maybe calm it down just a little bit, but they are back at it once again here in the front, as they are throughout this entire field, especially back here with about Jim Locking, Dan Butler, William Edmonds.
Oh, somebody's going around.
That would be the 23 going around, if we can catch up to him. That is the Ryan Hesgard, who we talked to earlier, and they are still piling in here, so let's switch cameras here and get a better angle, as there's about 8-9 cars involved in this.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to Ryan Hesgard here. It looked to me, I just barely caught on the edge of my screen, like maybe he just got loose there, running a little bit higher line.
Yeah, I think that's about right as we're watching the replay here. He is all by himself there. I'll say that. He has about 10 cars around him, but he was by himself, I do believe, for the most part. Actually, I'm not sure.
There might have been some net code there, or maybe even a shot there. Hard to say.
Yeah,
I didn't see contact, but that thing came around way.
Yeah, it was definitely, whether you want to call it contact or netcode, there was definitely contact. At least iRacing thought there was contact. Anyway, let's go back here to the blimp view. Again, we're going to go back to Ryan Hesgard in the 23. I don't think Mikey ever hit him. I think you're right. I think it was netcode. As Mikey got some damage out of the deal too, but I really don't think they actually hit.
I was watching the chase view from behind the number 8 there, and there was a good foot between the two trucks, but the hitbox detection there, maybe a little bit of latency lag or something. iRacing detected that they hit, and that's unfortunate. I didn't see any damage on the 8. I'm not sure what the 23 got out of that yet.
Yeah, we'll go back here. We're going to take another look here. Again, see if we can get a view of it here. Watching from a different angle, and hopefully we'll be able to see some here. You're right. I don't think Mikey Neal did get any damage there. But we're trying to find just the perfect angle to see this.
Mikey's got a little bit of damage in the rear. Not bad, though. Just a little aero damage. The front end's pretty good. So you ought to be able to carry it wide open around the track. But he may just be a little bit down on speed on the straights. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and again, there the 42 getting involved, the 21 of Dan Butler. The 99 to Justin Starr, the 6, the 39 to Roger Muth, several drivers getting involved, the 19 involved in that. As we'll go back up to live here and go back to our main camera. We'll see everyone looks like they are coming down or came down pit road, except for our top 3 here, showing Cody Levitt, John Van Rellis, and Jeremy Evans. It looks like some of these guys are going to come down now. Early wreck here took out quite a few people, but definitely there was no contact. That was netcode.
Yeah, I'm cycling through cars looking for damage right now, and I'm only through about the first 20 cars. But it really looks like Mikey Neal and Ryan Hesgard might have got the bad end of that one. Matthew Ellis, I guess, has quite a bit of rear end damage too. I'll continue cycling through here and see what we can see, but looks like those 3 drivers primarily so far.
Yeah,
James Morgan got some.
We're getting reports from Mike that the damage was from the 84 earlier in the race. Again, those teammates, they may be teammates, but they're still going to race each other hard. And, you know, sometimes that happens, as we've seen it many times where teammates do get into each other. And I'm really curious to see how this goes on time-wise. Is Cody Levitt has not come down pit road. Everyone else has. The lights are off on the pace car as we are now going green, so he is not coming down pit road. But he did not pit 12 laps on those tires compared to all these guys in fresh tires. I have a feeling he's probably going to get past pretty quick here.
Well, I think if they're still wide open, so he was still wide open. If he was still wide open when the flag came out, there really isn't an immediate benefit to the tires. The question is how long are they going to hang on?
Yeah.
Track going to cool down a little bit. Tires going to cool down a little bit. I don't think he's going to get truck too bad the first couple laps.
And he definitely gets a big jump there. That's what he needed to do. He needed to get out there and get clear of these guys and get into the line he wants into. As we'll check through this field, he's got a nice little jump. As we'll go back here to this group behind him here. And that is a very bunched up group right now. Anywhere from about, I'd say, second place all the way to about 5th place, maybe 6th in there as well. As like you said, it's full speed around this track, and we're going to see some really close racing. And, you know, drafting is going to be a little bit here, I bet.
Yeah, well, one of the things I was curious about, and I was trying to watch at the end of that first run, our leader at the time, Alex Huffman, had moved not just one line up, but almost 2 grooves up in the corners, which, you know, I'm wondering if, was he just trying to save tires there a little bit, or was the truck starting to give up a little bit on that low groove, and he was searching for more grip? So that was what I was going to really be curious about at the start of this run. And kind of when I'm watching Cody Levitt here to see if a couple laps of heat in there don't just start slowing him down a little bit, which maybe, you know, I'm not really seeing that effect. It looks like he's still wide open right now.
Yeah, and it looks like Dan Butler in the 21 machine. 5 laps down, he is coming back on the track, and he comes right back here, and now everyone's going to start passing him, as he had to get back on the track eventually, and he comes right in there with them, and he will be scored again 27th right now. And they're just freight training them right now. He's still trying to get 100% up to speed, as with that damage, it's going to be very hard.
Yeah, Cody Levitt's been caught now, and I suspect maybe his tires are maybe a little bit worn here, showing through. Jameer Muhammad, Mikey Neal, Bryson Barker going to get inside of him. Alex Huffman probably going to keep him pinned up high. We got probably 6 cars there, unless somebody jumps into the outside lane. Look like they're going to try to work Cody Levitt over here in the high lane.
Yeah, and I don't know how these tires are handling there for him, but if you're getting pinched up on that high side, that's where we saw the 23 there. Again, I thought it was he get loose, but he had net code. I don't know if I'd want to be stuck up there on them old tires. We'll see how they do play out with it all. But you got these old tires here that aren't handling the way you want, and all these fresh tires up here with Jameer Muhammad, Bryson Barker, Mikey Neal, Alex Huffman, Jeremy Evans, they're all around you just battling as hard as they can right now.
Yeah, I think it's 3 and 4 where you got to be most concerned about that line. There's a little bit of drop off when you get into that corner, as you'll see where they're going into that corner now, and it can get the rear end of that truck a little bit loose. But for the most part, I think as these tires get older, where we see Cody Levitt didn't really come down and close up that gap, I think the trucks are going to like to run a little bit higher as those tires wear a little bit more. So even though Cody Levitt could be running lower, it looks like he's moving his line up. So I think his tires are definitely starting to show some wear, and that's after about 15 green flag laps. So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and for all intents and purposes, he's only 7th right now. So take a look here to him real fast. We'll pull up where he started. He started 6th, so he's actually back a spot from where he started. So that's what I wanted to check to see officially where he did start. And this is a good strategy to try early in the race. I don't know, in my opinion, if I would try that later in the race. If you only have maybe 2 laps and you can get a good jump, I'd say go for it. But if you have more than 5-6 laps to go, I think that's probably not the winning call.
Well, maybe 5 laps to go, maybe it is a winning call. I think maybe looking at Cody's tires there, I think, you feel pretty good about holding them off for 3-4 if you're out there in the lead. A lot of times, 5 laps to go, we're all getting new tires because you're worried about getting trucked. But if we still got this kind of grip at the end of the race, Cody's the one that knows what lap 4 and 5 is going to feel like. None of these other guys do. Could he have held it down there on that low line for a couple more laps and held them off?
That is true.
I think it was a good experiment, particularly with temperatures like this, because it just changes the strategy so much if we get a short run at the end of the race.
Yeah, and like you said, didn't think about that aspect. He very well could have pushed that issue a little bit more and held it down there and held these guys off. Maybe he just wanted to see how long they would run, and then he'll come in and get some fresh tires. As we got 2 cars into the wall and a big pile up going back. Well, let's go back and take a look. And
I just saw cars going everywhere.
They are still wrecking back here. I'm not sure who that started with, but I believe the 45 of Brian Jones. I know he was involved. I saw Jalopnik on the side, and you're not supposed to see the side of these trucks going down the backstretch.
Yeah, it might have been the 70. Sam Crow, does he have a red and black truck?
I believe so. We're going back here to watch this group. The 75 was around them, too. So let's see. Oh, yeah, the 75 of Sam Crow gets in somebody. Let's go back again here.
45, I think, was what I was looking at. I think it was the 45 that went around first. Brian Jones, exactly who I think you thought it was initially.
Let's take a look here. From the blimp view, the 75 was just in front of the 45. And I'm not sure that's the 36 back there battling as well, I believe. And we'll see officially where this all started.
It looked like the 75 just kind of maybe got up into the 36 there on that island. 36 was right up against the wall, didn't really have anywhere to go.
Yeah, looking here from the blimp mode, it looked like the 75 checked up to not get into the 5, and when he did, he may not realize there was a car on his outside either, as he checked up a little bit, went up, gets into the 36, and then just collects the 11, the 45, the 12, may have got some damage in there, the 99. So another pretty good size wreck here is we had at least 5 or 6 cars are involved in that one as well.
Well, another aspect that's a lot like super speedway racing, right? When we got cars packed this tight together, you just can't wait for a big spot to open up. You're having to sometimes make moves faster than your electronic spotter will allow. Sometimes they'll say clear, and the gap closes up before you can get the next command. And it looks like maybe that's what happened there. And then, of course, just like super speedway racing as well, we've got such a tight pack here because we're all running wide open that, there's just too many cars with no time to react. And so every time we wreck, we get 6, 7, 8 cars.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have a second to go back and look at the 5 of Brandon Dorsett. I don't know what your screen is showing, but I'm showing he was on pit road for 23.3 seconds, and never mind, I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe he missed his pit stall or something, but he is coming down pit road once again, but he did have a pit stop time, so interesting there, as he is coming down pit road this time.
Yeah, I didn't see it either, but I was looking at that pit lane speed and no stoppage, so I was with you. I was going to guess that he missed his pit stall.
Well, he is coming down now, and that is going to give the lead back there to the 84 Bryson Barker. He's now led 2 laps. Just to recap here, your leaders have been Muhammad, Levitt, Huffman, Evans, Barker, and Neal. They have all led some laps here, as right now your top 5 after 24 laps completed is Bryson Barker, Alex Huffman, Jameer Muhammad, Jeremy Evans, and Damian Leininger. Mikey Neal sitting just out of the top 5 in 6th place right now, and it's turning into be some really good racing. We've seen a lot of really good racing, and some pretty big wrecks on top of it.
Yeah, I just want to point out too how strong Alex Huffman has been running lately. I'd say the last 6 weeks or so, Alex Huffman has just been, we always talk about the big 4 in this league, and then we talk about kind of that next tier drivers, and for a while it was the big 3, and we watched Mikey Neal kind of run really strong several weeks in a row, and then he just made this huge jump and got up there and won a whole bunch of races and kind of went on his roll. Alex Huffman is a teammate of Mikey Neal's, and I've just seen a lot of the same stuff. Alex Huffman has the speed week in and week out at these tracks to be up front, and it looks like he's just kind of figuring out how to get the long run out of that truck finally too, and he's been really, really good the last 5 or 6 weeks, and he's up there on the outside row here again.
He is indeed, and again, we've been talking about Jeremy Evans, Damian Leininger up here as well, Cody Levitt in 7th, with fresh tires this time, so he does have fresh tires for this restart. Brian Bizzle in there. Sam Crow and James Morgan round out your top 10 as we are ready to go racing once again. It seems like a good time here, Jeff. You want to go radio silent and go a little crank it up?
Oh, I think crank it up is going to be great here with this tight pack racing here tonight.
All right, we're going to go silent. We will be back here in just a couple of laps as we go crank it up here on VRN. right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here as it's getting real interesting up at the front. Jamir Muhammad has now led 8 laps, as you're watching there. So we have had, so far, 6 different leaders here in this race. And right now, I'm not sure who's going to win this race. I would say your top 10 easily could win this thing right now.
Oh, I don't think there's I don't think I'd limit it to the top 10 right now. I think we'll see what fuel strategy does when it comes out to play here because, you know, tire strategy may not be as important as it normally is. And, you know, nobody's really getting away from each other here, too. One little wreck seems to take out a lot of good cars, so I'd pretty much say it's all still up for grabs.
Yeah, as you're watching this battle right here, this is where we're focusing at the moment. This is your top 5. Mikey Neal just behind them in 6th place. Brian Bizzle and Cody Levitt just behind them. But I would say going back as far as Cody Levitt, I would call that kind of your front group. They have about a 4-car length lead from the rest of the pack. But, you know, these probably at least top 5 right now. It is like a just madhouse 5 o'clock traffic going on up here. They are just zigzagging back and forth, trying to find where they want to go, and doing it very safely and cleanly at that.
Well, here's something interesting for you. There's so much grip in these trucks right now, which is not something we're used to. We've talked about that. But these guys are running some of these guys are running their fastest lap and 9 laps into this run, 10 laps into this run, which means there's literally still have enough grip to drive this thing wide open, turn the wheel as much as they need to, and these trucks actually get faster as the gas burns off. So something we normally only see at a road course, you know, but these trucks actually seem to be speeding up a little bit here as they lighten up from a fuel burn. So, yeah, I mean, it's just making for some great racing.
Yeah, it is making for some really great racing here. As there goes Alex Huffman. He will go back to the lead. Our new leader is the 83 of Alex Huffman as he gets by Damian Leininger and Jamir Muhammad. And again, it is just back and forth with these guys here as those front 2 are bumper to bumper right now. They've kind of got a little bit of a gap over the 2nd and 3rd. But look here back to Cody Levitt, even further back, Sam Crow, Brian Dorsey, and even John Van Rellis and Brandon Dorsett. Your top 12 drivers have all caught those front, and that is a 12-car breakaway right now. You know, you said don't limit it outside the top 10. I think you're right. We've got 12 up there now battling.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we'll get a reset. There's just no way they'd run this close without something happening. Even when they come to green flag pit, there's not really a lot of space in between these guys. So, guys, this pit entrance is hard to get off, right? Coming off of turn 3 and 4, which you'll see here, the leaders are going into that. That'd be the next corner here. You got to duck right off on the pit road without much of a runway to slow down. So if these guys are running this tight when green flag pit stops hit, which we believe is going to be in another 7 to 10 laps here, right there they just passed the pit road entrance. Look for that to be a really tough thing for these guys to negotiate running this close to each other. You're going to see guys locking up, crashing into each other. I think that's going to be a mess.
Yeah, and you know, it's we've seen it before when that many people come down pit road. It can be. It may do you well to come down maybe a lap early. You know, get in there if you can get by yourself to be able to see your pit stall, not have to worry about anybody else behind you, and kind of be the leader that starts pit stops. That very well could do you good as long as it doesn't hurt your run for fuel. I think it'd be a good idea, not only because you'd be the first one to kind of start it, but you have a clean pit road to get down.
Yeah, Brian Dorsey hard into the wall there, but he was able to save it. Didn't look like he made any contact with anybody, but he really hit the wall pretty hard there coming off the corner. Just going back through chat, Charles, we got somebody asking if anybody can do iRacing. I think that's something you might be able to help them out with.
It is, yeah, iRacing is obviously it's not free. It's $13 a month or $110 a year. So yes, it is open. And when you do have to buy the tracks and the cars, we got the
Leininger hard into the wall, bounces off, goes into the inside wall, and it doesn't look like he's going to come back up on the track and bring out a caution.
He is not, so he is going to stay down low. And he's sitting there. I think he expected the caution, but the caution did not come out, as he sat there for quite a bit after he was still. So he is going to have to tow. That is unfortunate for the three of Damian Leininger. Had a really good run going. He was borderline leading some laps. Didn't ever actually get there, but so close to doing it. But that's not going to affect these top guys as we still go racing. But back to the question we were answering there. Yes, you can get in. You have to buy all the tracks and cars if you want to race at them, on top of the yearly fee. If you message us on the Virtual Racing Network Facebook page, we do have some 3-month codes that we can give away to get you on iRacing for free, 3 months, as long as you've never created an account. If you've never created an account, you can use it, and it'll get you, again, 3 months free on iRacing.
Yeah, and there is some free content on there. There's a lot of content you have to buy. Typically, your tracks are $10, $15, and your vehicles are the same. But there's enough free content on there to certainly figure out if iRacing is something you want to invest in or not.
Yeah, and you know, the what we always refer to as iRating or safety rating on here. Your first couple of classes are free cars and free tracks, so you can do official stuff. Get in here, find out if you like it, and you can do obviously hosted stuff at any time. So definitely is open to anyone. You probably are going to want at least a gaming controller, Xbox controller, but wheel and pedals is preferred.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Evans almost took 3 wide there. Didn't mean to interrupt, but the 83 Alex Huffman and the 38 of Cody Levitt, who's back up front, they were looking to take him 3 wide there, and Jeremy Evans is taking it up high in the corner here. I don't think he's
contact between the 83
into the wall.
The 83 and the 38 make contact. Cody Levitt spinning around. He gets it into the inside wall. He, too, is off the racing surface. No caution is going to come out for this. As right as you were talking about them two racing, they door slammed each other, and the 38 went around.
Yeah, the 38 just bounced right off of the 84 there. Not sure whose real estate that was. I'd have to go back and watch it several times probably and still wouldn't know. But Cody Levitt was having a phenomenal run here tonight. And, man, that was a hard hit. And, you know, a little surprise there because he came across traffic. That didn't bring out a caution, but I guess he cleared the track fast enough that these guys are still going, and Jeremy Evans retains the lead.
Yeah, he does. And to answer how many tracks do they run, I'm not sure if he's referring, Mike, if you're referring to this league or iRacing in their official stuff. The official, they run 12 different tracks each season. This league, they run like 20, 25, 30 tracks. They run a ton of different tracks. So the league runs most of all the NASCAR tracks, if not all of them. Official stuff, they just make up schedules 12 weeks in advance and put them out there. So that's how that works, to answer both, whichever one you are referring to. But back here to the racing, here comes Mikey Neal. He is in second place. Again, he's led 1 lap. He's going to try to get by his teammate, and he will. And now he's going for the lead again.
Yeah, Mikey Neal still with a little bit of damage there in the rear, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him. It doesn't look like it's really got that spoiler kicked up much. Does have it dented in the middle, but aerodynamically I don't think that's hurting him. And he's right back up front and trying to make a move on Jeremy Evans. He was trying to go high, but Jeremy Evans was it looked like a defensive line there decided he was going to go high too. And Mikey Neal might have to get a little bit creative if he's going to try to get around him here.
Yeah, this could get interesting. And this, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the longest stint we've had with 23 laps. Is Mikey Neal coming down pit road, as well as Jeremy Evans and the 14 of Jameer Muhammad. We have several drivers dipping off. That's kind of what I thought they would do. That was a very quick dive to pit road. I think they were doing that to try to get in here before everyone else.
Well, that's again what we talked about. This was 10 laps. We thought that they were going to have to pit somewhere around lap 22 to 25. We saw that we were watching them go around the track, and there really wasn't any real estate for these guys to slow up and pull into those pits. So they did a great job of pulling out of traffic And, you know, I might take the opposite side of this and try to be the last guy to pit here just on his first round at least. See if somebody wrecks maybe.
Yeah, and unfortunate, it doesn't. I think he's going to lose one spot off of it. Didn't cost him too much time, but Jeremy Evans slid through his pit stall, had to back up just a little bit, as that will put Mikey Neal ahead of him coming out of pit road. So once all of it completes, as there is the rest of your field coming down pit road, you have Alex Huffman, Barker coming down, Dorsett, pretty much everybody else coming down except for your new leader, which is the 99 of Justin Starr.
Yeah, Justin Starr employing the strategy I thought about, but now that everybody's pit with the exception of Brian Jones, you know, looking like it didn't work out, but he does have a good chunk of the field a lap down. We'll have to see. I don't think it's going to work for him. And now he has to come in and pit anyway. So looks like most of these guys ran it right up to the end of that field window anyways.
Yeah, and we just got word here in chat from Roger Muth. The 83 just got a hold for 15 seconds for speeding on entering pit road.
Yeah, it's a pit road here.
And we'll see. So far, he has not gone in to serve it. So we will see. He has to serve it under green. He cannot serve it under yellow. But just as we thought, because of that little bit of a mistake on pit road with Jeremy Evans, other than that, he's had a perfect race here. But just had to back up just a little bit. That cost him the lead. Now Mikey Neal is your race leader here on lap 52 of 120.
Yeah, those concrete pit boxes here. You know, most of the time I've raced here, it's you know, we're looking at temperatures north of 100 degrees on the track. So I don't know if I've ever really raced in temperatures this cool, but usually that hot concrete down there, really slippery when you come in on those old tires and hard to stop. So I saw we had a couple of guys overshoot their pit boxes. Not surprised there. Probably, if anything, I'm surprised we didn't have more of them overshoot it. So nice round of green flag pit stops here. I really thought that that was going to be really tough for these guys to pull off, but they made it look easy.
Yeah, they did, and we're keeping an eye on the 83. He has not come down pit road yet to take care of that black flag, so you can only run so many laps. Oh, well, there we go. It held him at his pit stop for 15 seconds. I thought that was a come down pit road again for 15 seconds. So my apologies. Apparently, it's been a while since I've had a black flag.
Yeah, the first flag is usually a hold for 15 seconds on speeding. If it's excessive speeding, they may make you come back down under green, or if you get a second penalty, get caught speeding another time, exiting or something like that.
And yeah, apparently I should probably get on the track more often now. I'd probably get plenty of them, but regardless, that is good news for him. At least he doesn't have to come back down, but he is being scored right now in a 12th position, so he's on the lead lap. So thank goodness it wasn't a short track, or that penalty really would have hurt him. He'd have probably gone at least a lap down. And I think we're having mic issues there for you, Jeff, as something is not going good here for you.
Well,
there we go.
We're back. Not sure what's going on there. Everything kind of wigged out on me for a second, but that seems to be par for the course with this new PC build.
Yeah, just not quite going the way we wanted with that PC, but we'll get it sorted out. We're getting closer every day here. As we want to point in just a little recap here as we're coming up in the halfway point here in 4 laps. Right now we have currently 19 of the 28 that started on the track. 15 are on the lead lap. Justin Starr 1 lap down. Ryan Hesgard 2 laps down. Brian Jones 2 laps down, and Dan Butler 5 laps down at the moment. Again, we only had 2 drivers not start here. That is the 33 of Danny Valenzuela and Jared Hagedorn, who did not start tonight's race. Yeah,
the green flag pit stops really seem to have paired us up and spread us out here. Mikey Neal and Jeremy Evans just all over each other, first and second place. Brian Bizzle and Jameer Mohammed, pretty much the same story, a few seconds back in third and fourth. You can go back just a little bit further. You got Bryson Barker and Brandon Dorsett, same thing. Two guys within a tenth of a second of each other, just battling it out. So 2 by 2 by 2 we go here. I think we got several guys that would love to see this bunch up with a caution, and a couple that want to see it go the way it is.
Yeah, I think I'm with them. I think it'd be a needed caution here to bunch this field back up. You know, some people don't want to see it. You know, I think it would really bunch them back up if we did see one, as that's a product too of kind of you know, not really super speedway racing here, but you know, where it's full throttle like that. Pit stops, just like at Daytona and stuff, if you have them come in at different times, they get really spread out, and then you really have to work your way to the front and try to make some battles happen. So I think caution would be something that would definitely give these guys a shot to get back at the front.
Well, you know, I mean, we've been running around the track wide open all night, so obviously, other than a little bit of a difference in line or the emergency maneuver, there's not a whole lot to slow you down or speed you up there. So we don't get that separated, but we come into the pit, something that these guys probably haven't practiced a lot. Green flag pit stops, you're off the gas, you're braking hard, you're trying not to get a speeding ticket, trying not to slide through your box. And that's where we'll see discrepancies, probably as much as 3 or 4 seconds of total time spent getting, you know, down the speed, off the track, back up on the track, and up to speed. And that's what spread our field out, is basically the amount of time that these guys spent getting their green flag pit stops.
Yeah, and looking here, we'll see. I don't know how we got so many off tracks, but I'm showing a ton of drivers with off track, and I'm not sure how accurate this thing is, to be honest. So we're taking a look here. I don't think that's very accurate. It's also saying it was, well, here we go. Let's go to the session here. And we're trying to figure out there, as this thing is all sorts of whacked up here. So we're trying to look here where our pit stops were going on. So pit stop was on lap 54 for Brian Jones. So we had pit stops around lap 23. So we're roughly doing the math here in my head, trying to figure out how many laps these guys can get on fuel.
About 25 laps, 24 to 26 on that last run. We had a couple cautions. I was told 22 to 24 green flag laps. So, yeah, we were coming off that caution. We got 25, 26. So I think 24 is a pretty safe number.
Yeah, and that'd be about right because they pitted around 23, so they were short pitting by a lap, some of these guys. So 24 roughly laps. We're on 15 on this stint, and these were green flag stops, so they have actual 15 laps on these tires. So we are just about, I would say, about maybe 8 laps away, maybe less than coming back down again, as it seems like we were just there, and here it is coming up once again.
Yeah, this league runs a 50% fuel restriction in these trucks, so it makes for some good racing because you're not out there on these super old tires. You know, most often the tires for these NASCAR cars, they're designed to last a fuel run, and so these half fuel runs, you don't get those tires that are just, you know, unwieldy and you can't hardly power on that track out there. So for fixed league racing, because the setups are already tough to drive, you know, the fuel restrictions make for much better racing. So yeah, like you said, we're only getting half field runs out of this, and we're probably going to see guys start peeling off here in about 6 or 7 laps again.
Yeah, I definitely expect them to soon. And we'll see how this one goes out. Let's take a look at our cautions. We've had 2 cautions for 6 laps, 55 laps to go, so we are past the halfway point with 50 to go, or 55, now 54 laps to go. I want to keep a very close eye on that. Once they come down pit road, based on that, they should have to pit here in about, I would say, roughly 4 or 5 laps. So they will have to pit again before this race is over.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they're going to pit here again, like you said, around lap 75 or so, maybe 73, 74. And it's going to be real close as to whether or not they can make it. So we may see some guys actually saving fuel on this run, trying to stretch it out to, let's say, 76. And if you could pit on 76, then you'd have 120. It's 120 laps, not 100. Just forget all that pit strategy. That just went out the window.
That was
not racing tonight.
I was wondering where your math was coming from there for a minute, but 120 laps, so they will have to pit 2 more times. Coming up here, they're on lap 20 of this stint, so I would expect them in 4 laps here, at least. We may see in 3 laps. Again, that stint came in, they came in on lap 23, some came in 24, so it's roughly between 3 and 4 laps, they're coming in again. And, we saw one mistake on pit road from the Ford Jeremy Evans where he overshot. It didn't cost him too much, as he is sitting in 2nd place right now. But he definitely does not want it to happen again, as he's already spread out. This time it would cost him a little bit more.
Yeah, I think we'll see cars start coming down on about lap 72. We're at about 50 to go here on lap 70. So, we think our field window 24 might be pushing a little bit if it's all green flag. So probably the earliest we'll see guys is around lap 72, and then maybe we'll see them spread out over the next 3 or 4 laps behind that. But we should see everybody in here probably in about the next 4 laps.
Yeah, the question is, who will be first, and will we see anybody lock them up coming onto pit road? It is bound to happen, or it says bound to happen. It could happen anyway, coming down pit road. As, we did see what can happen. We saw that last night, unfortunately, in the Northwest race, where Sean Reisman did lock him up getting on the pit road. So it is possible, especially on a track like this, trying to get to pit road as quick as you are, that you could possibly lock him up or spin it out.
Yeah, it's more than possible with these guys. The difference watching that race last night, or actually racing in that race last night, was a track like that. We're really messing with brake bias because there's so much braking going on, trying to get in those corners and get off those corners. Here they're not using the brakes. They're probably not messing with the brake bias too much. Less likely to spin it out if you haven't got your brake bias all offset and forget to put it back. They'll have a little bit easier time getting the pits. Looks like we got somebody slowing down here now, Mikey Neal, and not sure who that was. They almost made contact getting in the pit road there.
Yeah, it looks like him, and is that the 38 of Cody Levitt coming down? I believe it may be. Yes, it is the 38 of Cody Levitt coming down. Jeremy Evans, Jameer Muhammad, and Bryson Barker all coming down pit road. These are your top 3 or worse, so we're going to keep an eye on them, especially Mikey Neal here, and he puts it in good. And it looks like the 4, perfect stop this time. Perfect stop for the 84 of Bryson Barker. And he is going to get his tires and fuel. Looks like one driver we haven't really got to talk about right now. He is on pit road as well. That is Salvatore Di Gennaro, sitting in the 12th place right now on pit road at the moment.
Yeah, I'll tell you another driver we haven't talked about enough tonight. That's the 28 of Brian Bizzle. He started back in 18th place that entire last field run there. He was running up inside the top 5, battling Jameer Muhammad for 3rd and 4th most of that run. Right there towards the end of the run, he'd almost run down Jeremy Evans for 2nd place, and just finished leading the lap. So Brian Bizzle just having a phenomenal run here today himself, coming from the back and running up front.
Yeah, and we do have a new leader here. We'll see if he officially leads a lap. That is a 64 of Tony Rice. We'll see if he is going to lead one a lap or not. Looks like he's going to come down pit road before he can pull up there. He started 22nd. He's scored as first at the moment. Again, I'm not sure if he's going to lead the lap before these guys get by, and it's not. Mikey Neal's going to pass him.
Yeah, Mikey Neal going to cycle back to the front. Jeremy Evans to 2nd. Brian Bizzle going to come out of these pit stops in 3rd. Jameer Muhammad going to come out in 3rd and a half as they're running right next to each other. And, Bryson Barker might just be 3rd and 3/4. Those guys came out of the pits right next to each other. I think those trucks are almost welded together right now. Brian Bizzle and Bryson Barker, and of course Demir Muhammad not going to let these guys get away.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around 3rd and a quarter. How you get but I see what you're talking about. They're side-by-side racing here. And that is actually a really good battle going on with these guys. Again, Cody Levitt's in this group, but somehow Cody Levitt went a lap down.
Yeah, Cody Levitt got in that wreck, if you remember right, or hit that wall really hard. And I think he had to get some repairs, went a lap down there. That's the one where he and the 83 truck got into each other, if you recall.
That I do recall that. It was throwing me off there as he was up there. He went in the pits with Mikey Neal and them. So I was thrown off by that just a little bit. I did forget him and the 83 did get together here. But while pit stops are complete and we still have some fresh tires out there, just to run through a little bit of a recap here of this race.
Ooh, what's going on with Mikey Neal there? Something going on with Mikey Neal. He slowed way down and just got loose there on the apron by pit road. I don't know where he was driving, but almost looked like he's having some hardware failure or something there. He just lost a huge lead. Almost lost 3 seconds here to the group behind him. And just about wrecked it there on that last lap.
Oh, that is definitely something, and he is still possibly, no, he's back under power here. I thought he was slowing down again. Something going drastically wrong here for him to give up that much of a lead, and it's almost as if he's not running at full power. As like you said, they are catching him in a hurry right now, but he is doing 175, the same speed as this group behind him, but they're catching him in a hurry.
He is now, but this is his 3rd lap of the problem. He was 2 seconds off pace on that first bad lap, and then almost a half a second, or a little more than a half a second off of his pace on that second lap, and then this being lap 3 here, and he's getting it back under control, but still 2/10. So he's lost a total of 3 seconds now across the last 3 laps, and looks like he's getting things back under control in that truck, but I wonder if he didn't have a hardware problem or something there in his rig.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to find out if he did. If we get a caution here, maybe we can talk to him. But definitely something went really wrong there. And while we're watching this battle behind him, we'll go back here. We're just going to recap kind of what's happening here right now as of lap 81 of 120. We have 17 drivers currently on the track. We have Ryan Hesgard, Brian Jones, Damian Leininger, Matthew Ellis, William Edwards, Dennis Ellis, Jim Walking, Hunter Conley out of the race right now. Colton Farrow and Roger Muth on pit road. Ray Moss out. Danny Valenzuela did not start, and Jared Hagedorn did not start this race. But 17 of our 28 drivers that started currently on the track.
Yeah, a couple things to point out up front here. Number one, Jeremy Evans really able to extend his lead with whatever problems Mikey's having there. And Brian Bizzle just continues to impress here. He continues to turn laps with Bryson Barker probably no more than a quarter car length off of his bumper at most times, and he's just unfazed. Bryson Barker cannot find a way to get around, and Brian Bizzle just completely unfazed by that, continues to hit his marks, drive his line, and keep Bryson Barker probably frustrated behind him. So Brian Bizzle with the best run I've seen out of him this season here. And we've seen some good finishes from him, but he's just driving at this race.
Yeah, he is driving really good. And they are still reeling in Mikey Neal here. And again, I'm not sure if he's still not having an issue. As, again, I would have thought if he got it fixed, he would be back up to speed. But they have caught him very quickly once again.
Well, obviously something's fixed because he was 2 seconds off pace. Now he's about 2 to 3/10 off pace, which for Mikey Neal would indicate there's still some sort of problem, or maybe he suffered some damage that we missed. I saw him driving on the apron. He could have very well clipped a wall or put it in a wall or something. I haven't checked for additional damage. But whatever it is, he's off pace right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen any damage. I don't see any on his car here. Let's see if we can't go to the sides of his car here for Mikey Neal. We'll jump up to him. And I'm not seeing any on the left front. We'll check the left rear Not seeing any on there. Looks like a fairly clean car. We'll check the right front as well, and the right rear. And he does have maybe a little damage to his right rear suspension. It looks like his back fender is caved in a little bit.
He's had that damage since the first incident in the race.
Yeah, he has. I remember chat talking about it.
Yeah, not sure what's going on there. I don't think tires give out that fast. Like I said, he had some 33-second laps there, so something obviously wrong. But right now he's falling into the clutches of Brian Bizzle. And, Brian Bizzle, who we talked about, we'll see if he can actually battle Mikey Neal for that spot while continuing to hold Bryson Barker off. That's going to be the challenge right now for Brian Bizzle.
Yeah, and getting reports from Mike and Neil in chat that he has no info at this time. So he is about in the boat we're in. We have no idea what's going on as Mikey Neal gets out of the groove there just a little bit to go down. That may have been to try to cut some of that draft off. But that's a battle you're watching for, again, second place. Jeremy Evans, however, just got by Brian Dorsey in the 12 of James Morgan, as he just put those guys a lap down. So he is starting to deal with lap traffic now on top of all this.
Yeah, and we got those three cars here, Mikey Neal, Brian Bizzle, and Bryson Barker, who are all right in a row there fighting for position, getting into those three lap cars right now. So how they negotiate this lap traffic is going to be real crucial to their positioning on the track, and whether or not they can pick up any speed on Jeremy Evans, who has pretty much just about checked out here with a 1 second lead right now.
Yeah, he really has. And we'll see Mikey Neal, Brian Bizzle, and Bryson Barker going through these cars here. And surprisingly enough, Jameer Muhammad sitting in 5th place. I do want to note that we did look it up and were informed too that when we were here earlier, Jameer Muhammad won the race. He's sitting in 5th place right now, though.
Yeah, I'm going to point out too, Jeremy Evans has slowed down dramatically. He had that lead up to about 1.5 seconds. He's let these guys get in within 3/4 of a lap. I think Jeremy Evans is saving fuel right now and saving a lot of it. And I think he's going to try to stretch this that extra 2 or 3 laps. So, if you're the leader and you got a 1.5 second lead, I don't know if I like that strategy or not. It's a tough call, but it's a gutsy call. But certainly the way he's slowed down and the fact that we know these guys have been running wide open, I'm pretty sure he's saving a lot of fuel here these last few laps while Mikey Neal's having those problems.
Yeah, and we hopefully, I never want to see a caution, but I'm kind of hoping we get one so we can talk to Mikey Neal, see what might be going on there as to what might have caused it. But again, the 4 slowing down just a little bit. Mikey Neal's catching him, but here comes Brian Bizzle and Bryson Barker. We may have a 4-car battle for the lead here shortly.
Yeah, I'm sitting here wondering. I wonder if Mikey Neal was trying to save fuel there a little bit. Because he's back up to speed. I'll be honest with you, I think the whole crew's trying to save fuel right now.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that this entire group, they're falling about 1 second off pretty much across the board right now. And that's either the most fall off we've seen. So either this track has rubbered up and has lost a lot of grip and they're having to lift a little bit now, or these guys are saving fuel.
Yeah, and speaking of saving fuel, we're on lap 20 of this stint here, so we got about 4 laps, and they're coming back down pit road again. So again, we forgot to look at it here. We have 28 laps to go. I bet you they're saving fuel, because if we're coming down in 4 laps, that's going to put them right at 24 laps to go. They may want to try to save as much fuel as they can so that they can come in one more time and assure, if it's a 24 lap run, that they will have enough to the end.
Yeah, if I hadn't seen Mikey driving it down there on the apron and getting all loose, I would have chalked his up to that. Oh, Brian Bizzle just got loose back there, able to catch it. But maybe we are losing a lot of grip here too as this track heats up and takes rubber. Guys run a little higher in the corner, but Brian Bizzle just had his hands full there.
Yeah, and looking here, I figured this is what would happen. Our track temp is up to 79 degrees from 74. I figured we'd get up to 79 or 80, and indeed it has got up to 79 degrees. So, and that's a product too of we have not had a caution here since those two early in the race. So that's going to happen. This track will get nice and hot.
Yeah, I just caught Brian Bizzles out of the corner of my screen. He very easily could have just caught a little bit of apron there, which will do that too. Put those tires below that white line in that corner just a little bit. Because he is running right down there in the apron exiting turn 2 where that happened. But so I didn't see it, but it's worth keeping an eye on, seeing if these guys get a little bit squirrely in these corners here.
Yeah, and right now we're on lap 23, so I would expect to see these guys come down here very soon. So we'll see who is going to be the one starting the pit road entrance, and it's going to be the 4 of Jeremy Evans coming down. Mikey Neal and Brian Bizzle are going to stay out.
Yeah, Jeremy Evans, maybe he thought he saved enough gas. I think he probably has. Mikey Neal, Brian Bizzle going to do one more here just to be safe. And then it looks like a sprint to the finish unless we get a caution.
And we'll be looking for that. We're going to watch pit road, make sure nobody makes any mistakes on it, as everyone looks to be good. So far, it is Brian Bizzle out front, as here comes Mikey Neal down to pit road. He will get his fuel and tires, and hopefully he didn't get caught speeding there. He had to lock him up pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was trying to bait Brian Bizzle there or not, but I think if I remember right, Brian Bizzle pitted a lap later than everybody last time anyway, so I thought Mikey Neal was maybe trying to get him on the outside of him and bait him there into missing pit road there, but I don't think that's the case at all, because I think Brian Bizzle was planning on pitting this next lap anyways.
Yeah, I think so too. He did pit one lap later, and it looks like a solid stop here for Mikey Neal. And here comes Brian Bizzle down pit road. And we'll watch his stop, make sure all goes well. Again, these are your leaders throughout the moment. So if you make a mistake here, this is a crucial stop here. This is the last stop of the race.
Yeah, I'm looking at pit road times, and I'm showing Mikey Neal as having a better pit stop. Obviously, our timing screen doesn't give you the full accurate pit stop, but looks like he may have had a little bit better shorter time there on pit stop than Jeremy Evans, and I think he might get up to speed in time here to retain the lead and stay ahead of Jeremy Evans.
You'll definitely have to see, as there comes Brian Bizzle off pit road as he's getting up to speed. Mikey Neal is right there, and he is indeed. Mikey Neal's going to get out. Mikey Neal is your new race leader once again.
Yeah, now Brian Bizzle, we'll see what happens there. It looks like he's going to lose a lot of ground. Mikey Neal, I'm showing him as the only 39-second guy down pit road, so it looks like he nailed the pit road speed limit, and he had a 14.3-second pit stop, which puts him as the second fastest, only to Alex Huffman of the guys who took 4 tires. So Mikey Neal with just an incredible green flag pit stop there. And Brandon Dorsett in the 5 truck only took 2 tires. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on here too.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I don't know how it's going to play out here. Let's look at him real quick and see where he started. He started 11th. He's in 7th. So, 2 tires may be a good call here if he wants to get a top 10. And looks like Jeff having some more issues. There we go. There's Jeff back.
I just wanted you to remember what life was like without me, Charles.
Oh, please don't do that. I about had a heart attack.
Sorry, I couldn't understand you. We're having some more issues here with the headset and TeamSpeak, but I'm back and watching this battle here. Jeremy Evans looks like he might be just kind of slowly reeling in Mikey Neal here, so I don't know if Mikey Neal's saving it all. I don't know if he's still got problems. I'm with you. I'd kind of like a caution just for the simple fact that we'd like that Mikey what happened there. And Brian Bizzle, unfortunately, drops back to 4th place. Bryson Barker able to get around him. and Jameer Muhammad running out our top 5 right now.
Yeah, definitely would like to see one here just to be able to talk to him. Again, he is moving right now, so I think he may have just realized, hey, I need to save some fuel, and just like slammed on the brakes and immediately went into conserving mode.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out one of these days. Somebody will tell us, but right now, we really, unless we get a caution, this is a 5-car race. And quite frankly, I don't really see how Brian Bizzle and Jameer Muhammad at 2 and 3 seconds back, respectively, are going to catch these guys the way they're running, which would mean, Mikey Neal, Jeremy Evans, and Bryson Barker without a caution or some sort of wall scrape or accident or some really tough time with lap traffic, looking like the race might be between the 3 of them here.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how it does. As Justin Starr on pit road here, as this is his 4th stop. He's coming down pit road here, and he will make his stop. So looks like a solid stop for him going down. Again, we still have 17 cars on the lead lap, or on the track, sorry, as we only have 10 on the lead lap right now. So if a caution was to come out, it may not be a bad decision to come down and get tires. Depending on how many laps there are, is the worst you could go would be 10th place.
Yeah, we saw the times drop off about a half second on that last run to maybe 3/4 of a second. We saw a few laps maybe a second slower, but I believe those were laps where they were saving fuel. Here we are, 8-9 laps into this run. And these guys are still within 1/10 of a second of their fastest laps of the race. So we know for the first 10 laps at least, there is no fall off.
Yeah, definitely the fall off gets a little worse, but I don't think it's not too bad at the start. Is Jeff's still having a few issues we're trying to sort out. So hopefully we can get those sorted out here sooner or later. New PC builds can be that way sometimes. They just don't want to cooperate. So I would like to say that any donations we do get this week, I think we may have to send to Jeff here to get him out of the funny farm here shortly if these PC issues don't get fixed.
Yeah, if I knew I could throw money at it and fix it, I'd be out there borrowing and stealing here, but we don't even know at this point what it is. So
well, the money's not for the computer. The money's to get you out of the funny farm when you go crazy for trying to fix it. So it's to bail you out. Just real quick, we're going to run through our top 10 here. These are your top 10 drivers on the track. It is Mikey Neal, Jeremy Evans, Bryson Barker, Brian Bizzle, Jameer Muhammad, John Van Verillis in 6th place, Brandon Dorsett, Sam Crow, Alex Huffman, Salvatore DeGennaro, and he is your 10th place car. So first race here with the league in 10th place, putting on a really good run.
Yeah, and then back there in 11th place, we got James Morgan, who got involved in one of those first incidents. 12th place, we got the 38 of Cody Levitt, who was having a phenomenal run tonight. Until him and Alex Huffman made a little bit of contact, he got in the wall. In 13th place, we got the 64 of Tony Rice, who I believe even led a lap or two during green flag pit stops here tonight. So unfortunately, he's 2 laps down now. Mike Rigney in 14th. Justin Starr 3 laps down in 15th. Brian Dorsey in the 9 car, 3 laps down also in 16th. And then we've got Dan Butler 7 laps down. And most of those cars that I just read off have quite a bit of damage from one of the accidents that we had early on.
Yeah, they do. 2, I believe, we'll take a look here. We've only had 2 cautions, and boy, were those 2 cautions doozies. They took out 6 to 9, 10 cars each wreck. So depending on who we missed there, but a ton of cars in each caution. But those are the only 2 cautions here. And keep in mind, we have 10 laps to go. Now 9 to go. Mikey Neal out front. As we'll see, Jeremy Evans is coming. Will he be able to catch him?
Yeah, Jeremy Evans has knocked that gap down from about 3/4 of a second to a half a second. So He's going to have to pick it up if he wants to get that half second here in the next 8 laps. Bryson Barker pretty much maintaining there. He's reeled in Jeremy Evans a little bit. He's about 1.2 seconds back, so he was about 2 seconds back. Brian Bizzle was a little bit further back. He's actually closed the gap a little bit himself. Now he's 2 seconds back from Mikey Neal and about 3/4 of a second back from Brian Bizzle. So those are your 4 drivers. Jameer Muhammad actually, and we don't say this very much, but he's fallen back here a little bit. I don't know if he got the wall or something, but the last time we checked in with him, he was about 3 seconds back, and now he's about 6 seconds out of the lead. So not sure what's going on with him tonight.
Yeah, definitely something going on there. Just not performing where I'm sure he is used to and where we're used to seeing him. But to answer the question for Randall in chat, why does iRacing not have overtime? Well, I'll let you know when I find out. That is something we have been pushing for here for a long time. Ever since it came out on iRacing. I mean, it's a simple coding issue, I would imagine. They would have to code it in and bring it out in an update. So we get a lot of stuff here, but unfortunately that is not one of them.
Yeah, that's something we've all wanted for quite a while, and there are some leagues that manually do their own, but it certainly is a pain in the butt to try to make that work.
Yeah, it definitely would be. I am hopeful. I'm not going to lie. We have heard that for dirt racing and in general, really, caution laps not counting are very close to being done. So if caution laps don't count, I would think that would be one step closer to giving us overtime, where if the caution was extended past maybe laps wouldn't count, and they could add green, white, checkered. So I think we are close. Well, we'll see. Again, that is all up in the air. Just our opinions here. Again, yeah, you're right, GT. It was started from NR 2003. They've definitely changed it, and we'll see if we eventually do get it. Would be cool to see. But here, so far, Mikey Neal out front, and we got a car smoking. I'm not sure who it is, as they are down on the apron, so it will not cause an issue, and it's going to be the 21 of Dan Butler. They apparently got into some trouble, as he has a blown engine there trying to get it back to pit road, and I don't see any more smoke. He either turned the car off or it officially completely blew up. It looks like his night is done here. Mikey Neal out front, Jeremy Evans in second place, Bryson Barker in third. So we're going to keep a close eye. Bryson Barker still trying to run down Jeremy Evans for second place. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch him, but Mikey Neal definitely picked it up here in the closing laps. Not sure if he might have been still trying to save fuel, but it is now 2 laps to go, and he is out front and has got a lead once again of 1.216 seconds, no, 1.233 seconds, as he is on the backstretch. He is now 1.5 laps away from pulling it into victory lane here, again in the RACECORE Truck Series presented by Leo's Coney Island, as he comes out of turn 4, and he will bring it to the start-finish line right there. 1 lap to go. Presented by Northwest Racing Series. Again, white flag in the air. Mikey Neal half a lap away from putting it in victory lane, as he is on the backstretch once again for the last time here tonight, minus a cool-down lap and some celebrating if he chooses to. It looks like he is going to put it in victory lane. Jeremy Evans second, and Brian Bizzle going to be your top 3 if everything goes the way they want it to. And right there, your race winner will be the 8 of Mikey Neal.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to take a breath there. Quite a call there to the finish, Charles. Exciting race here. We got a little bit spread out because of those green flag pit stops there at the end, but what a fantastic race from a fantastic crew. Mikey Neal. We'll get a chance to ask him what happened in the post-race interview. Jeremy Evans with a second place, fantastic run, led a lot of laps tonight. Bryson Barker, as usual, on the podium. Brian Bizzle, another guy that had a fantastic race, and Jameer Muhammad. How often can we say that somebody's probably a little disappointed with a 5th place finish?
Yeah, definitely. So we don't get to have the Jameer and Jeff show here tonight. That is a first. We do not usually see that unless he's not here. So we'll definitely be missing that. But we do have the Mikey and Charles show here tonight. That doesn't really rhyme, but whatever. We're going with it. So you can have the Jeremy and Jeff show tonight. So we'll let you go there. But that being said, before we get to the post-race show, we got to get through the results. Jeff, we got about 28 drivers, say 30. You want to run through our top 15, and then I will bring it home.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. We've got Mikey Justified Neal in the 8 truck, brings it home in victory circle and runs his backward lap. To just shows he can drive it there both ways. In 2nd place, we got the 4 of Jeremy Evans. In 3rd place, the 84 of Bryson Barker. In 4th place, the 28 of Brian Bizzle. 14 of Jameer Muhammad in 5th place. The 87 of John Van Verillis brings it home in 6th. In 7th place, we had the 5 of Brandon Dorsett. In 8th place, we had the 70 of Sam Crow. In 9th place, the 83 of Alex Huffman. And rounding out your top 10 there with the 36 of Salvatore De Gennaro. I'm probably got. Sorry about that, Salvatore.
In 11th place will be the 12 of James Morgan. 12th place will be the 38 of Cody Levitt. 13th will be the 64 of Tony Rice. 14th will be the 30 of Mike Rigney. 15th will be the 9 of Brian Dorsey. 16th place will be the 99 of Justin Starr. 17th will be the 21 of Dan Butler. 18th will be the 23 of Ryan Hesgard. 19th will be the 45 of Brian Jones. And the 20th will go to the 3 of Damian Leininger. 21st will go to the 6 of Matthew Ellis. 22nd will go to the 75 of William Edwards. 23rd will go to the 11 of Dennis Ellis. 24th will go to the 91 of Jim Locking. 25th will go to the 19 of Hunter Conley. 26th will go to the 67 of Colton Farrow. 27th will be the 39 of Roger Muth. 28th will go to the 42 of Ray Moss. And outside of that, the last 2, Danny Valenzuela not starting and Jared Hagedorn not starting the race either. That will do it here for the unofficial race results as we watch Mikey go backwards for some more time. We will be right back here in just a few moments with your post-race show. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here with the post-race show. And as always, we start with third place. That is the 84 of Bryson Barker. That will bring it home in third place. Started fourth, finished third in the number 84 machine. You led 8 laps. How was this race here for you? And do you think you, if we may have had a late caution here, you think you had anything to get that win?
Overall it was fun, especially at the beginning when we was pack racing. That was a ton of fun with those guys. A bunch of blocking, a bunch of hard racing, and then when we got spread out, it was all about pit strategy because just track position was huge. Because once you got gapped, there was probably no catching the guy in front of you. So yeah, it was fun. And then if a caution come out, I don't know. It's like I said, the pack racing was wild. So who knows what happened that last restart?
Well, it could have gone crazy. It could have gone smooth. You never know. We won't know because we didn't get a caution. We only had 2 at the beginning, and if a late caution had come out and it had been anything like those first 2 and the only 2, they were pretty wild as they involved at least 6 to 8 cars in each one. So we'll just have to imagine what would have happened if we did have one. Overall, a fantastic night here for you. You finish in third place. Just an outstanding run. Again, you did lead 8 laps. Just a little shy here of the win. So we know you got some sponsors and shout-outs. So who would those be here for that third place finish?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'd just like to thank Leo's Coney Island for the sponsor in the main series. I appreciate it. Global Building Contractors, Lake Areas Entertainment. Y'all guys for putting on a good broadcast, and Justin for hosting a good league.
All right. Well, again, congrats on that. And we are going to hand the mic over to Jeff, who unfortunately doesn't have the Jeff and Jameer show here, but he has the Jeremy and Jeff show, which is just as good. So we'll hand the mic over to you, Jeff.
Hey, Jeremy, you got me then?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. A second place finish. I know you probably wanted first. You led a whole bunch of laps tonight. You qualified up front. We talked about you pre-race. We talked about you early in the race. You've been running real strong here lately. You kind of came into this league a little bit later in the season, but you've been a solid top 5, truck, give or take a few spots. An Xfinity car just about every race you run. So tonight you busted out. You got yourself the pole. And you ran up front all night long. I think after some green flag pit stops, you and Mikey kind of got away from the pack. You guys battled for a while. We're not sure what happened to Mikey, but you kind of set sail. And then from what we could see in the booth, it looked like maybe your last green flag pit stop was just a little bit slow there and may have actually cost you the win. We thought you might have had it. So tell us about your night and what it was like where you were sitting.
Definitely was a fun race. There was a lot of pack racing there at the beginning after everybody got strung out. So like Bryson said, it became pit strategy and all about having that track position. So the last pit stop, I don't have any clue what happened. I hit pit road just fine and came down through, and I got in my pit box, and I could hear that the tire guy it sounded like he was a couple lug nuts behind the other one. So I don't know if that might have cost me or what happened. But either way, Mikey was fast enough, and he deserved to win.
Well, I'll tell you what, you were giving Mikey everything you had there for a while. And as a matter of fact, we were also trying to figure out right before that last green flag stop, you had probably about a second and a half lead there on Mikey right before that. And then in those last couple laps, I think you gave back about 3/4 of a second there, maybe over those last 5 laps. Were you saving fuel? Were you stretching and just trying to maintain that lead, or did the tires actually just fall off that much at the end of the fuel run?
No doubt, I was not trying to save. I just ran out of tires. That's all that happened. It just slowed down so much that I was being as careful as I could.
Well, we're 0 for 2, Charles, on the broadcast tonight, at least on what was going on there. But congratulations, Jeremy. You're one of our favorite guys to watch here in this series. We know that you just have a blast out there. Every time I've talked to you, you sound like you're just having a great time. And so happy to see you get a podium finish tonight. You were so close to getting a win. And I know if you hang in there, you're going to get one here pretty quick with these guys. But I'm sure you got some shout-outs to give, so go for it, man.
Oh, yeah, of course. That win will come eventually. I was hoping maybe Mikey would hold up for me. But I'd like to thank, Leo's Coney Island. They're the main sponsor for the Truck Series, Global Building Contractors, Lake Erie Entertainment, and iRacing Drivers World.
All right, Jeremy. Once again, congratulations on that second-place finish, and we're going to send it to Charles now, who's got our winner, Mikey Justified Neal.
I do have the 8 of Mikey Neal here with me on the radio. First off, we know you got some fans out there cheering for you, and you come away with the win here. So you started third, you finished first, you led 48 laps. Let us know, what was this race like out there for you?
Yeah, it was actually super fun. I had a great time, especially at the beginning. It felt like the All-Star race this year that the Cup cars did with the package and all that. It was actually really, really fun. I know I think we go to Talladega next week, and this is a really good warm-up for it. I mean, it felt just like Talladega. But I know early, I think I got into somebody. Not sure. I got hit from behind, but not sure if it was net code or anything. But yeah, so I kind of felt bad after that. But all I could do really is just keep pushing through it. And one thing that I practiced a lot going into this race was hot pitting, because I've not really been trying to hot pit lately, and so I was trying to hot pit a little bit better today, and trying to be more steady under braking, and it helped a little bit today. I was able to drive it in a little bit more on my pit stops, and I think I had a super good entry on all my pits, so I was really happy about that, and I think that's a good thing that won me the race. But another thing though, I know you guys are wondering, I was about a lap and a half short of fuel. I think it was somewhere around there, and so I started saving big time, and I was like, if I get Jeremy's draft, I'll be good. And then I don't know why, I just tried to drive it on the apron off of 4 and lost almost 2 seconds. But I was able to save a little bit more and get to the end. And once I got back out in front, I knew I had a pretty good shot. But I had to get away from him where he couldn't get my draft, and I was able to do that. So I was able to maintain the lead out front. But it was really tough, though. I mean, everybody was competitive, so that's what makes it really, really tough.
Well, definitely very tough, and we want to make Jeff happy. He's sad for us here, so we're actually going to get him here. We're going to hand it over to Jeff, because I know he wants to talk to you. So, Jeff, we'll let you talk to Mikey.
I was just heading out the door, Charles. Hang on, let me get back. Mikey, I was just going to ask you about that green flag pit stop. I know I mentioned it when I was talking to Jeremy, but we had the times here, and our rough times on a timing board, which aren't accurate. Usually they're a little bit slow reading, but you kind of had them by about a second to a second and a half. Most of that just getting on and off pit road there, that entrance. So what you brought up was it. I think you expanded on a little bit. So I was just going to ask you if you were practicing green flag pit stops or not, because that last one was phenomenal, and I think it's what won you this race.
Yeah, and I really did practice them, but the one thing that really, really helped me, though, is that you use no braking at this track, so you can kind of play around with your brake bias, and I got it where I felt comfortable being aggressive getting onto pit road, and I think that's where I was super strong tonight, was getting on pit road, and that helped me a lot. I think I did okay getting in the box and all. I was being a little bit cautious going through, and then exit I was also really, really aggressive off of. But pit road is I think it's something that is not looked at enough. It's super hard to get on pit road. It's super hard to get off pit road, and it's also even hard to get in the box. So I mean, pit road it's a whole nother game in racing, and it takes a little bit of practice. I practice them a lot, and I make a lot of mistakes with it, but tonight I just was able to execute everything perfectly, and the car just it handled exquisitely today, and I had a really, really great time getting to drive it.
Yeah, you absolutely did. Congratulations. Thanks for letting me get that question in, Charles, and I'll send you back to Charles there to wrap it up.
All right, well, that pretty much does so that. We know you got some sponsors and shout-outs, so who would those be here for this win here tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank KM, Jack, Alex, Roger, and Austin. Got to thank you guys for broadcasting. We also got to give a shout-out to the top guys. I know Jeremy, Bryson, Brian, Jameer. They all had a really, really good race, so it was super fun to race with them. I thank iRacing Drivers World, Global Building Contractors, and the main sponsor of the series, Leo's Coney Island. I also got to thank Lake Erie Entertainment. I got to thank my mom and dad and Elizabeth watching showing me race, and got this win tonight. And also got to thank Dan and Justin for hosting the league. I had fun, so also got to give a shout out to everybody watching. Hope you had a really good time watching this tonight. Had fun.
All right, well, again, congrats on the win. That being said, we are not done just quite yet. We, of course, want to thank all of the sponsors as well here for the broadcast and the race. On the racing side of things, of course, Global Building Contractors, iRacing Drivers World, Lake Erie Entertainment, and, of course, Leo's Coney Island. And on the broadcast side of things, we want to give a big shout out to all our partners as well. Walls of Beard Co., Sim Speed Shop, Northwest Racing Series, Ohio IndyCar League, iBog, and Randy's Wraps. That will do it here for tonight's broadcast. Make sure you tune in tomorrow as we have a doubleheader. We have Upper Edge at 7:35, and then Northwest Truck Series at 10:30. So we'll be back-to-back broadcasting again tomorrow night for Wednesday. Stay tuned for that, and we'll see you tomorrow night.